It's not fun to go about your month and then get hit really hard with a big expense that's maybe hundreds or thousands of dollars. It can be hard to cough up all that money all at once. Talk about stressful. What you could do instead is make a sinking fund. Adding a sinking fund to your budget can help prevent so much stress and can prevent you from going broke. So what is a sinking fund? A sinking fund is where you purposefully set aside a little bit of money each month in order to save up for an upcoming expense. Let's say you normally spend around $500 in Christmas gifts every year. So instead of taking $500 from your November or December budget, what you do instead is starting in January, you save $41 every single month, you put that aside. By the time December rolls around, you're gonna have your $500 saved. Or let's say you have a trip coming up in 12 months and it's gonna cost $1,000. So every month for the next 12 months, you're going to set aside $83. By the end of that 12 months, you're going to have your $1,000 saved. A sinking fund is the perfect way to save up for large expenses without killing your budget. You can basically make a sinking fund for whatever you want. Birthday celebrations, annual car insurance, vet bills, clothing, large vacations, anything. In order to create a sinking fund, you need to first know what you're saving up for. Then you need to figure out how much money you think you'll need. If you need $600 in 6 months, that means every month for the next 6 months, you need to save $100. Then you need to add that $100 to the monthly budget, and every time that month goes by, you have to set aside $100 for that sinking fund. Also, I wanted to mention that a sinking fund is not the same thing as an emergency fund. An emergency fund is saving up for something that's unknown, right? An emergency. A sinking fund is saving up for something that you know is going to happen in the future and something you're going to be spending money on. You know, a non-emergency. Also, a sinking fund is not the same thing as a savings account. A savings account is just where you store your money, where a sinking fund is more like the method or technique on how you save your money. So most people will take their sinking funds and put that within a savings account. Some benefits of sinking funds are you can prevent so much stress because you can prepare for inevitable expenses. You can also take a big budget item and spread it out so then it's more easily managed in your monthly budget. You also get to pay cash for all your expenses. This will prevent you from using a credit card and going into debt. Also, sinking funds are super customizable. You could basically save up for whatever you want. Here are some tips when it comes to sinking funds. When you have sinking funds, it's really important that you don't have too many sinking funds or else you're going to spread yourself too thin. You could probably make a sinking fund for nearly anything, but if you have too many, it's going to be hard to reach your goal or to get any traction. Usually, I recommend not having more than 7 sinking funds. Sinking funds are also not for your normal monthly expenses. For example, we pay for car insurance once a year. So let's say for me, $1,000 due in January. Every month, I'm setting aside $83, but I'm not putting gas in my sinking funds because that's a normal monthly expense. A sinking fund also only works if it's in your monthly budget. This is because a sinking fund is intentionally saving up every month in order to purchase a larger item that you know is coming. Also, if you don't know how to make a budget, I have free resources linked in the description below. You also want to figure out where you're going to store your sinking fund. A lot of people like to store their sinking funds using cash envelopes. So let's say your birthday is in September and it's January and you want $300 for your birthday in September. Every month for the next 9 months, you're going to withdraw $33 from your bank account and put that in a cash envelope. By the time September rolls around, you're going to have your $300 for your birthday. Envelopes are super great because you can make as many as you would like and it's super easy to check the balance. All you gotta do is just look in the envelope and that's how much money you have for that sinking fund. Now, not everyone likes to use cash envelopes, so they're gonna choose to put their sinking funds into a savings account. I wanted to mention that if you do use a savings account, you're going to have to find a way to stay organized to keep track of the balance of each of those sinking funds. So instead of opening up 10 different savings accounts to keep track of the balance, what some people do is they just keep track of it using paper and pen or an app or an Excel spreadsheet. For me, I love putting my sinking funds into a high-yield savings account so every month I can earn a little bit of money from interest. With the high-yield savings account that I use, I have one that allows me to basically make online envelopes so I can keep track of all of my sinking funds and then also earn a little bit of interest. If you want to know how a high-yield savings account works and how I organize my sinking funds, I actually made a video which I'll link right here.